for the last 4 years or so, I've been in this cycle of injury, pain, rehab, injury, pain, rehab. And it's been unceasing and unrelenting, both in season, and off season. And I've felt stuck in it, and the only way I see out is to no longer play football. It's taken my joy of this game away, and this. Sorry.
That Indianapolis Colts quarterback, Andrew Luck, shocking the league by announcing he's retiring at the age of 29. As you heard, he didn't really want to continue to live the way he was, constant pain, spending all his time rehabbing. He is a star player who is leaving in his prime, also leaving as much as $450 million on the table, and that's an estimate that was offered up by his own owner. Now, current and former NFL players just about universally accepted Luck's decision, but retired quarterback Steve Berline, he was not among them. Here's his tweet, quote, "I'm a huge Andrew Luck fan, always have been, but this I cannot defend or justify. No scenario where retirement is defensible. To do this to his teammates, organization, fans, and the NFL 2 weeks before the season is just not right. I love the guy, but this will haunt him." Now, Luck is not the only star in his prime who's retiring due to that constant pain. Patriots tight end Rob Gronkowski, he's also only 29. He's walking away from the game. Here he is describing why.
I was not in a good place. Football was bringing me down, and I didn't like it. And I was losing that joy in life, like the joy. I'm sorry right now, but I really was, and I was fighting through it.
Former NFL wide receiver Randal "The Thrill" Hill, he joins us now. He played for the Miami Dolphins, Arizona Cardinals, and New Orleans Saints. And Randal, thank you for the time. And I'm curious, I know everybody was shocked when they heard what Luck said, but were you nodding along where you understood what he's going through and that this may not be the last retirement of its kind of a player in his prime that we see?
Absolutely not. I mean, I totally agree with his decision because, he's a grown man and he makes his own decisions. And this has nothing to do with the fans. It has nothing to do with the team because, yeah, you're part of an NFL team, but your first team that you should always take care of first is your family. And, if you make family decisions, whether it be with a wife or with a mother and father or your kids, that is what comes first, not necessarily NFL team. Your NFL team comes a close second, maybe a photo finish, but your family comes first. And when you make those decisions with your close immediate family, I'm all for it because it's about livelihood, it's about being happy, and money doesn't necessarily buy happiness.
I know we're a wide receiver, and for folks in our viewing area, they'll remember Wesley Walker as one of the greatest Jets. His story of how he lives now, it's heartbreaking. And he talked about rushing back to the field too soon, whether pressured or not. It's a small fraternity you belong to, but can you try to describe for people what it must be like to go through on a given Sunday 20, 30 car wrecks over the course of a football game?
Well, actually, I think the mental aspect of it is probably even harder than the physical aspect of it. Yeah, there are some car wrecks, especially when I played, when you had guys back there who can just tee off on you, and there was no penalties or there was no flags for hits to the head and those sort of things. But, I still have nightmares about the NFL. And I think that lasting impression of what I've gone through mentally, it affects me more than the physical part. I can get up now and I can run 7 miles. I have no problems. I've been blessed. But with that being said, I've also made a lot of right decisions because since I played in the NFL, I married a doctor. So she didn't want me to play in the NFL anyway. So I was fine with that. But when you make these decisions and when it's time for you to turn it in because what I go out and I talk to young adults, tomorrow's leaders who are inspired to play professional football, I let them know that football is a window of opportunity for you to get in and get out of very quickly in your life, and then you start your career. And I left the NFL on my own accord, just like Andrew Luck. And I walked in and I told the coach I didn't want to play anymore. And a couple of years later, I became a federal agent. So I'm still having fun. So there is life after football.
You know, when I read what Steve Berline said, and to be fair, I mean, there's some shock jocks who were saying it as well, but he played the game, and he's one of the only current or former guys I've heard who've criticized what Luck did. There was always the thing I said, you never put another player's name in your mouth, especially if you're talking about his contract, if he was holding out or whatever else. Berline's got to be the outlier here, right? I imagine in locker rooms, nobody's holding against the guy who's gone through what Luck's gone through for the last 4 years, wanting to hang it up.
Listen, I played with Steve Berline out in Arizona, and Steve Berline is a great guy, and he's a thinker. And he is entitled to his own opinion. And opinions are just that. They're not fact, they're not fiction, they're just opinions. And he's entitled to his opinion. But him saying that he let his team down, Berline comes from a school of thought where he played for Jimmy Johnson and he played for some of the tougher coaches in the league, including Buddy Ryan. So you're thinking more football first and then family a little bit second. But when you talk about this generation of player, whether it be Patrick Willis or some of the other guy, Megatron who left, when you make your money, you're there to make money, and then when it's time for you to walk away, you walk away on your own accord. You don't necessarily walk away when they gotta push you out of the door. Walk away on your own accord. Make sure you have your degree. Make sure you have people around you who are upwardly mobile, who can take care of you, like me, like my wife. And then you just move forward in life. And there are other jobs and or employment and careers that you can have that can still be fun, like being a federal agent.
I'm curious. I've Hall of Famer Harry Carson was on the show, and he said he never would have wanted his son to play pro football because of the injuries and the concerns post-playing about all the problems we know, unfortunately, all too well. How do you feel on the issue? Again, it's a dream for guys to play in the league, but given what we know now, would you have concerns about a son of yours playing pro ball?
Well, luckily, and it's a great hypothetical because luckily I have three girls, so I don't have to worry about sons playing football. But with that being said, I don't have a problem with a young adult playing football, but you have to understand that it is just a small window of opportunity for you to get in your life and get out of, and then get on with your life in whatever career it may be. My daughter, we're all about education in our house, and not necessarily the physical part. But I come from a family of educators. So it all depends on your thought process as how you were raised. And I think most guys, like if I did have a son, hypothetically speaking, I don't know if I would necessarily want them to play football, but everybody wants better for their kids than what they had. So I would probably want my child to be the coach, the head coach, or a general manager, or director of player personnel, or even owner of a franchise, because you always want better for the next generation.
Randal, I appreciate the time. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
All right, everybody, when we come back, we switch gears. As more and more states consider whether or not to legalize recreational marijuana, we decided on NFL to visit a city in Massachusetts to see how things are going there, that after they opened up a dispensary. We're going to show you what we found, that after this quick break.